There's a stock that most of us are directly or indirectly holding of a company that's about to get crushed by the government. And obviously it's not going to be pretty for the stock price. And it might end up being a huge boost for another company whose stock price could explode. And we're going to talk about all of that in this video. And the company that's about to get crushed, well, it's taken a while for this to happen because our government, well, it isn't exactly made up of the youngest or most nimble-minded people. So when it comes to the rapid pace of technological innovation, they're always a solid 10 steps behind, just napping and drooling. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against the 65 and over crowd. I love them very much. But it becomes a problem when you're trying to govern and you aren't on the ball with how fast technology moves and how fast it dominates. And if you haven't guessed already, it is a big technology company that's about to be in trouble. Because recently, our great-grandparents popped a few extra Viagra and decided to really get to governing. And that's when they pointed their hard-ons towards this man-child, which I'm sure you've heard in the news. Facebook is getting sued by like the entire country, 46 state AGs, plus the FTC, all going after Zuck here. That's why his face is like this permanently. Why? Because of monopoly practices of Facebook, which all these technology companies are getting into. Antitrust. And the company we're going to talk about isn't far behind Zuck here in terms of getting in the crosshairs of these guys' geriatric rage. And this trend of tech getting regulated properly and broken up, it's really important to track for a few reasons. First, of course, being that a lot of us hold these tech stocks, not only in our personal accounts, but our retirement accounts too. And this whole bull market for the past 10 plus years has been driven by these huge tech companies. So if the government is going to be going after them and trying to break them up, then that is going to have a huge impact on the stock market and of course us too if we're holding these stocks. And then of course other companies will benefit from these titans falling. And we're going to talk about those companies too. And from another angle, this is just important to our everyday lives because these monopolies, these tech monopolies have really been taking over everything. And what's the backbone of the US economy? Small businesses. Well, as you'll see in this video, this company is crushing small businesses left and right, just like the government is about to crush them. And I know I need a better word than crush because I keep saying it over and over again. But anyway, no company should have too much power. So finally, the company that we're talking about today, the ultimate powerhouse, is none other than Amazon. Look at their little box robot, crushing every other little company down here. So actually, it's not a little box robot, it's a giant box robot. The Wall Street Journal just published an article highlighting some of the extreme anti-competitive things that Amazon does. Check out the title, How Amazon Wins by Steamrolling Rivals and Partners. So we're going to go through a few examples of what Amazon is doing, why the government is going to come after them, and then of course what you should do with your shares, because most of us are holding Amazon, like I said. And then we'll wrap it up by going over the company that might benefit a lot from this breakup or eventual breakup. I shouldn't call it anything yet because nothing else has happened. And then we'll go over the company that may benefit from the government going after Amazon. So we might want to shift our money. So there are tons of examples of Bezos taking out the competition, and this article just goes over a few. One of them being camera tripods. The actual tripod that I use to film these videos is a competitor of Amazon that has been completely destroyed. And it's the same one they're talking about in this article. They sold their tripods through Amazon, and then Amazon ripped them off and made their own Amazon Basics version and screwed over the little firm. So now it's a fraction of its original size. And we'll go into that example a little further. And by the way, those Amazon tripods, garbage. Another example is Wayfair, the furniture seller. To compete with them, Amazon created a Wayfair parity team that studied how they worked and how they sold and delivered their bulky furniture and then replicated a majority of their offerings. Amazon is out here using an unfair advantage, which is the same thing they did to Allbirds. You know these Allbirds shoes? You've probably seen them before, right? See, this company missed an amazing opportunity to have the Birdman himself sponsor the shoe. He would be such a trustworthy and completely relevant sponsor right now. Playboy. He could have protected them from Amazon, just completely copying their shoe and then selling it for half the price because they don't care about being environmentally friendly. Clearly, when I get a box to my house that could fit 3 basketballs and all I ordered was a set of pens, Amazon cares not at all. And see, with all this hanky-panky of Amazon screwing over all these companies, the Justice Department launched a broad investigation of all these technology companies, including Amazon. Europe's antitrust regulators actually charged Amazon last month with violating competition law because of this stuff that they're doing. So in October, the House Antitrust Subcommittee released their report accusing Amazon of exerting monopoly power over sellers on its website. It's very clear that they use the enormous market power that they have to maintain dominance. And that sentence doesn't actually make sense to me, but basically what he's saying is that yes, they are a monopoly. And why are monopolies bad? Because it kills competition, which eventually hurts the consumer, which is why it's really weird when we talk about this Amazon case. And I actually want to hear your thoughts about it down below in the comments, because Jeff Bezos is incredible incredible. He is ruthless, and that's why he dominates. But the thing is, all the savings get passed down to us consumer. And when a monopoly is bad, it's when they end up taking all the profits and making things more expensive for consumers. So this is why the Amazon case is a little weird, and it's why regulators haven't jumped on them completely yet, but it's likely coming. I should say most definitely coming. But there's no way to deny that us as consumers, like if you're an Amazon Prime member, you're getting a lot of benefit. Cheap prices, 2-day delivery, and a bunch of other stuff that Amazon does. But just check out how they operate. So that tripod brand I was talking about, Ravelli, that's the one that I use. What they did is actually suspend their tripods because Amazon had their own Amazon Basics version. So they didn't let them sell on the platform for a period. And it wasn't just this tripod company. Amazon does that to a lot of sellers on their platform. And they say it's because they're battling fraud and fake goods. And they accuse these sellers of selling counterfeit items, even the tripod company. And then what they do to prove that they're real is that they request that those sellers provide details on who manufactures their product, along with their invoices from the manufacturer, so Amazon can verify their authenticity. And then what happens once they get all that information of who's producing it? Amazon goes and produces their own version using this same manufacturer. So they find people on their platform that are selling popular products, and then they suspend them saying that they're counterfeit. And then they say, you know what, just to verify, send me where you get them from. They get that information, then copy it, go to the same manufacturer, offer more money or whatever, and then completely replace the company that they suspended. And this happens a lot. This has happened to people that I know too. Just Amazon completely crushing and stealing their product. I've even heard stories from my friends about how they will offer to come to your warehouse and help you optimize things. But really, they come and steal everything. It's just absolutely cutthroat. That's how Bezos operates. And I don't know why he does that. He doesn't need to. He could take a softer approach to these companies. Just tell them to come hither and reveal all their secrets, because you know Bezos loves sending nudes and getting real intimate. So why couldn't he do the same with all these companies instead of destroying them? Another example, if you remember diapers.com, which was also soap.com, they were absolutely ruined by Amazon because Amazon's just started offering huge discounts. They cut their diaper prices by 30%, and when diapers.com analyzed it, they realized that Amazon was losing $7 for every box of diapers that they were selling. And on the day of that price cut, an Amazon top lieutenant approached diapers.com and said, hey, you guys should sell to us. So predatory. And then diapers.com eventually had no choice but to sell to Amazon. So Amazon bought them in 2010 for about $500 million and then shut it down 7 years later, saying it was unprofitable. And they do this again and again and again. And one of their huge advantages is that they have the website where everyone is typing in their search inquiries, right? So they have all this data on all of us that use Amazon. So they're able to be ahead of any other company because those companies don't have access to that data. And they could put their own products at the top of their search pages. And the thing is, half of all product searches start on Amazon. So what are these companies supposed to do? They pretty much have to do whatever Amazon tells them. And then Amazon eventually destroys them. And then Bezos laughs his head off. And oh, what's this? What's this right here? It's just a little Bezos inside a bigger Bezos' mouth. I like that. So you can see why it's just a matter of time before the government really takes action against them. They've already been looking at them, but soon they'll take action, even when it's a murky case. Because again, I want to hear your comments about this, but Bezos is just a great competitor. You could argue that a lot of the stuff he's doing is not illegal, that it's not monopolistic, and that of course that's what Amazon is arguing. But at a certain point, it doesn't matter, because if you're becoming too big and too powerful, government's not going to like that. They're going to smack you down. And in a general sense, I think it is good for more competition, because too much power centering in these tech companies, that can't be good long term. It's never worked out before. You always need that power to diffuse so it's better for everybody. So what should you do with Amazon? Here's a picture of their price chart right here, and you can see that they've pretty much been going sideways for the last half of this year. Now here's something you got to realize too. Even though this is definitely coming for Amazon, it's going to be a very long-term thing. So you can't play the stock and sell your shares just based off this eventuality. You kind of got to bring it down to this time frame that's right now. So if we do that with this stock, we could see that Amazon is kind of coiling into a pattern right now. And remember, this is all markets do. They compress and coil and then they explode, either up or down. That's the nature of markets, compression and explosion. So if we draw some technical patterns right here, just to give us a better idea of the compression that's happening, you see there's that little triangle forming, and it'll keep going, and the price range is getting more and more compressed. And what that's saying is that buyers and sellers are kind of finding equilibrium. Same amount of sellers as buyers. But what's going to happen is that price is either going to break higher or lower. And this is a longer term compression that's happening here. I'm on a weekly chart right now. So this is over many, many weeks. Now, if this breaks lower, then that's a huge sell signal. And it's not necessarily directly a cause of the government going after them. There's a lot of factors that go into a stock price, but it could be one of them. And if it breaks higher, well, then you're good to hold for longer. So really, you got to wait and see. But what's interesting is that another company will really benefit from the government going after Amazon. And that company is actually the one that Amazon has their sights on right now. Just like they had a committee for Wayfair and they have a committee for every company. They had one for diapers.com when they were a strong competitor before they crushed them. Now this new company is in their sights. So that's a good indicator right there that you might want to be investing some money. And that new company is Shopify. And Shopify is another online platform that helps brick and mortar stores set up online shops. So it kind of does the same thing that Amazon does with its third-party sellers. So like the camera stand people, instead of being on Amazon, they could go to Shopify. And that's what a lot of small retailers are doing. So Shopify over Black Friday, they had aggregate sales of 5.1 billion. So they beat Amazon. Amazon only had 4.8. And again, all from their third-party sellers. So Amazon originally dismissed Shopify, but now it's super high on their radar, said one of Amazon's people. A lot of people are leaving Amazon for all the BS that they pull and going to Shopify. And another reason is because Amazon is charging more and more. They collect 30% on each sale on their platform. That's up from 19% 5 years ago. So there you go. They're exercising monopoly power right there, charging more and more to producers. So everyone is moving over to Shopify. So earlier this year, Amazon created a top secret task force dedicated to studying Shopify and copying parts of it. They call it Project Santos. So if you wanted a company to invest in, Amazon just pointed to the one that might take over. And you can see right here, Shopify is absolutely crushing it. Since those March lows, they're up almost 250%. So what we might be seeing here is a changing of the guard, especially if the government gets involved. You could potentially see Amazon getting broken up and a company like Shopify taking over, getting all those third-party sellers over from Amazon onto their platform so they make all the money. And it'd just be great for competition because you saw all these examples of what Amazon is doing to these companies. It's not good. It doesn't make a healthy economy. And that's why the government is going to be going after them. Now, of course, whatever you do when you're looking at stocks, you need to stick to your own strategy. Make sure that whatever analysis and stocks we're talking about fit within your strategy, and only then would you buy or sell. But at the end of the day, you got to stick to what you do. That's how you're going to be successful long term. Don't just buy stocks randomly. Make sure it fits within your process. The process is the most important part. That's what's going to make you money. And if you want to see another huge opportunity that's going to play out over the next few decades that we could all make a lot of money on, then check out this video right here. We go in depth on everything that's happening with this mega trend, including the specific stock to play it. So again, click on this video right here and I will see you there.